All right, we're going to get started soon. Can I get the alderman? I think we're all here. All right. All right, so can we get a roll call?
Meeting's called to order at 6:15 PM by Vice Chairman Felix in the absence of Chairman Hayes. For attendance, Alderman Martinez,
Here.
Alderman Donenworth,
Present.
Alderman Florian,
Present.
Chairman Felix.
Present. Are going to get a motion to approve the minutes for the January 6, 2025 regular meeting?
So move.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Oh, any opposed? Motion passes.
So we have a second set of minutes because we had a special meeting in January. So then we have the minutes of the January 21st special meeting.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from January 21st, 2025 special meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Oh,
Aye.
roll call, right?
You can do a voice vote. You just need to ask all in favor and then any opposed.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, do we have any audience, from audience time?
Is there anyone from the audience who wishes to speak at the Community Development Committee? There are none, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Moving forward. Old business, there is no old business, so we can move forward to new business. Can I get a motion for new business A, ordinance approving variances from lot coverage requirements for 230 Stewart Avenue?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No questions?
So you have a first and a second, and then it's appropriate to ask if there are any questions to the motion or any discussion.
Are there any questions?
I know when we were in our meeting, Alderman Turner, you were concerned about this. Do you have any objections to this?
No, actually, I'm supportive of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
There is a representative of the applicant here if anybody wishes to ask questions directly.
I don't have any questions. Do you guys have any questions? No? Can we get a roll call?
Alderman Florian,
Aye.
Alderman Martinez,
Aye.
Alderman Donenworth,
Aye.
Chairman Felix.
Aye. Motion passes. Item B, resolution approving a professional service agreement with SB Freeman Development Advisors, LLC, for the development advisory services related to parking lot B, 131 North County Street, in the amount of $29,500 in accordance with Section 2-458, subsection I-4 of the City Code.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any questions?
I have one. I know on the council agenda tonight, in the motion, item A, in the documents, it mentioned that we should continue discussing this particular lot with that particular development group. So I'm a little confused.
Yeah.
Well, I agree, and what I wanted to do is hold this over, because this is, I think it's like a conflict, because,
Because it's a TIF district, we have to put that lot out for bid to the public. We
No.
cannot pick a developer and say,
I
we
understand that.
want you.
I'm not saying that, I want to hold it over for further discussion, but not that we don't need it, because the TIF does require some form of RFP, RFQ. I don't think there's a difference, right? There's no preference, right?
Basically, you have to offer it competitively. You have to offer it to the public. And that could be a straight-up, just pure bid, where you just take numbers, where you can take proposals. An RFQ is like a two-step RFP, where basically you ask for their qualifications, and then you ask for them to give you an actual proposal.
I want to hold this over.
But,
You guys
well,
okay?
I'm sorry, you want to hold this over, is that what you said? But why? Why do you want to hold it over? We need this information in order to know that SB Friedman's going to provide, in order to know what we can develop on that lot. This is the beginning steps.
Yes, but when you look at it, if you open it up, it's specific for RFQ and I want to further discuss which one we're wanting to do, because I don't want it to, I think it's just, it deserves further discussion, and I think we should talk about it, what it means exactly, because I listened to all the briefings, and it was very vague, almost no explanation in depth into what it is. And right now that we're working on this development, I think we need to be very careful. The fact that it needs to go to the market, I'm for it. It has to. We have to put it in the public for people to bid for it. But I would like to hold it over for
I'll
further discussion.
second it.
Noel, can you maybe explain?
Not for over, right?
May I respond?
Yeah.
Alderman Florian's asking me to explain. So my staff has been working on the development of an RFQ, a request for qualifications document, for some time, preparing for this site to go out to market. So that document seeks general information about developers, what kind of developments they've done, what they envision on the site, what similar kinds of developments they've done. The intent of doing a request for qualifications first is that you can reach the broadest market, get the most responses, because there isn't a significant cost to developers to respond to an RFQ. They're basically using the materials they have, their resumes, their projects that they've already done, and submitting those. From that, we would have a review team that analyzes those. SB Friedman would be part of that team. And then we would select a smaller number from those developers. So let's say we got 24 submittals. We might narrow it down to, say, 6. Just, it depends on how many we get. And those people, those developers, would be invited to respond to an RFP, a request for proposals. That proposal then would have much more information. It would require them to spend some money to give us an answer. They'd have to come up with the unit mix, the number of units, the size of the building, some sort of basic rendering of the building, that type of thing. What we're asking SB Friedman to do under this contract is to work with my staff to help us refine that RFQ document to make sure it's a really good document to go out to the broadest marketplace nationally, get the best and the brightest and most capable developers to want to respond to it and be interested in our site. And then hopefully get those responses once we put it out to the marketplace.
So when we voted and passed the motion for the first phase, part of it was that second phase, which is a specific developer. So are you saying that, this would open up for other developers besides the ones that we're already deciding to vote it for, to work with?
So as Stu stated, because this is in a TIF district and it's city-owned property, we have to offer it to the market. We're required by state law to offer it to the market, whether it's a bid, whether it's a request for proposals, whether it's a request for qualifications followed by proposals. We're
understand that.
required to do that. And so
just-
this would do that. The developer that we're talking about can be a respondent they're welcome to submit under that along with anybody else who's submitted. They're not precluded from that.
No, I
But we
understand that.
can't specifically designate somebody without some sort of a public process.
I think this requires a lot more questions that I have for your department, so that's why I would like to hold it over.
You need a second motion on that, or no?
So a holdover is valid unless there is a vote to override. The vote to override requires a 2/3 majority of those present. Tonight, we have 4 members present, so it would require 3 people to override the motion.
It's just to further discuss. I'm not saying I don't want it. We need the
I'm just
details. Yeah.
telling you-
No, I just want to make sure to talk to the committee.
So if held over, this would then be continued for discussion at not the community develop, there's no community development meeting on 2/17, so it'd be the first meeting in March.
So I would like a meeting for sure. I know probably you guys want a meeting to further discuss. So this would be a good chance to say, hey, we want to make sure that we all are aware of what the details are for this kind of thing, what the possibilities are, which I think is fair for everyone.
Please contact my office. We'll be glad to schedule.
All right, and moving on to the next item. There is item C, resolution approving the First Amendment to the lease agreement with Gillian Marine Construction LLC for a portion of the water plant parking lot property. May I get a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Any opposed? Oh, any questions? Questions from the committee? Alderman Guzman?
Yes, I'm not in this committee, but we talked about this, I think it was last year, to finish out their contract and they'll be done. Not only, they're affecting the development down at the lakefront. They're also with the overweight, because these guys are semis that go up and down our streets. No matter what we get in rent, trust me, it's not going to be enough to cover. I think what they said is $7 million to redo Seahorse Drive. And the more and more heavyweight trucks go down that road, the faster we're going to have to come up with that $7 million. So let's say, Jesus, could you come up here real quick, please? Since there's no other route, Seahorse Drive is the only way up in and out of that, correct?
That is correct, and you're entirely correct. The larger vehicles, the more it'll take for maintenance, and the thicker the construction of the pavement, and also the width lane. We have an equation in engineering, it's called an ESAL, which is the equivalent axle loading, and that equates your larger vehicles to small vehicles. And it'll give a lifespan. So the more we allow larger vehicles on that site, the more maintenance it costs, the more construction it costs, price increases accordingly.
So this is the reason why I don't think this should pass. It should, once their lease is up, and I think it's April, I think we should thank them for their business and move on. Thank you.
I have a question while you're here. How much is it for Seahorse Drive?
We're looking at a construction price of $5 to $7 million at this time. The prices could fluctuate depending on the market. We are working to have the feasibility, phase one engineering study completed, started the next couple months. That's something that Noel and I have been working together, and that is next on the list.
And how much is the engineering cost?
Right there will be roughly 500 to 700,000. The RFP will give us the best number.
And where's that coming out of, the funds?
I believe it's TIF 8, Noel?
I had designated it as split between TIF 7 and TIF 8 because Seahorse Drive divides those two TIF districts.
Okay.
It could be entirely one or the other. It could be all TIF 7.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I have a question. Do you know the maximum weight for the road for trucks that can be allowed before it causes damage, or
I don't have that in front of me, but we do follow the IDOT standards, and that's where the equivalent axles come into play. Certain those roads, the ones that are arterials and collectors, are designated to carry those loads. Your local roads shouldn't see those weights. The material will last, but the more trucks you have on non-designated truck routes, the longer the degradation of the pavement.
One more thing. Director, how many truckloads go up and down, if anybody around here knows, of this company goes in and out of this
I
location?
don't have the number. I can look it up on the IDOT's website. They're the ones who monitor the truck traffic statewide.
And is it only them or other companies are coming in and out of that are using their services?
Right now, the only other company, and I'm not sure if their Director Dominguez is here, will be for our own facilities, but those trucks are not as heavy as the ones from the subject matter line right now.
Thank you. So they're causing the most damage, is that?
That's my assumption.
Hang on, I want him,
Yes, that is my assumption.
so the assumption is they are the one who's causing the most damage to the road. So that means we're gonna have to replace it sooner. That means we're gonna have to come up with $5 to $7 million sooner. And that's why I think it should be canceled.
Alderman Florian?
Did you review this lease at all? Like, were you involved in the process of talking about renewing this?
I believe Noel did shoot for me. I can't remember. I'll step back.
I don't recall either whether you were on that, or like Frank.
Percentage to the city other than the rent we're receiving, and why, if indeed they are damaging the road, why we would want to do this? I'm missing the other side of the story somehow.
That is correct, Alderman Florian. So, talking to our planning team, there are visions to develop the lakefront, and these leases that are outstanding or being considered must be taken into account at a larger picture that is outside of the engineering scope of work. I can give you all the data for the road itself, but that's where our planning team, our public works team, sits it together and ensure that whatever plans are being proposed for the lakefront development are in the safest, are in the best interest of the city.
Thank you.
Noel?
If I could add to what Engineer Alquicira stated, our team did an assessment when the lease extension was requested, and they have contracts for 2025 that they're trying to fulfill this summer when they're out, during season for the work that they do, that they would have to relocate and find another space. We're not quite ready for development there yet because we have some work to do with the US EPA to get the sites ready. So we felt like it made sense to extend it just through 2026. We wouldn't lose anything by doing that. We would have the option to prohibit the deliveries by truck, so they could still have the mooring lease. And if they needed to move stone to that site that they rent from the Port District there, they'd have to deliver it another way, which would be by boat, by barge or something. But we could.
Is that something out of impossible to do, or is it fairly standard practice?
I don't think they'd be excited about it, but it is something we can do. The road actually doesn't go all the way through to where they're going. That's actually the city's property. That's our parking lot. The road ends at the stop sign where Seahorse Drive is facing south, facing toward the lighthouse, basically, or the Steiner Pavilion. That stop sign there before the turnaround and before the ADA patio is where the road ends. So everything beyond that is city property. We don't have an obligation to allow people to use that for truck traffic.
Would it be impossible to, would it be, we could do it, right? Just maybe add a weight limit, and then everything, above a specific weight limit has to go through the boat?
We certainly could add a
That way it
weight
doesn't
limit to
affect
the
the.
weight.
So what I propose, committee, is we pass it, and then we hold it over and go into further details for the weight limit and whatnot.
I just want to add two more details, which does not interfere with what you're saying. The term of this First Amendment only goes through December 31st. It is not to be extended after that. And also, they were behind on payments. They've come completely current on all their payments. But that said, we can discuss if there is, like, how to implement either a weight limit, or if they can't agree to a weight limit, then possibly a requirement that they bring in all materials via barge.
Since it's what do you call it, a concern, I think that something that we should talk about. And I would like to vote on this today, pass it through council, and then from there we can hold it over and go into some details.
I think what would be procedurally, what would be appropriate is to vote on it here with a recommendation.
Yep.
And then if someone on the committee wants to then hold it over at city council with the direction that they bring it back with these changes, so
yeah.
it doesn't have to come back to this committee.
Let's do, yeah, I want to vote it through here. Yep, okay. All right, so can I get a
Roll call, sir.
roll call?
Alderman Florian.
Aye.
Alderman Martinez.
Aye.
Alderman Donenworth.
Aye.
Chairman Felix.
Aye, and thank you, Alderman Guzman, for bringing that up. Item D, line item D, ordinance to amend the Waukegan liquor ordinance to create a Class E1 liquor license.
So moved.
Can I get a second? Can I get any questions?
I just want to add
Yes,
one
please.
thing, because I know that there was questions and briefings about the changes to the fees and why they were such kind of unique numbers. And the reason that the fees are being increased, which actually has nothing to do with the E1, is that the original fees, I think, were established in 2019 with a caveat that they would be adjusted annually up by 2.5%. And we realized that we have an out-of-date fee schedule. Now, I would prefer if we actually had a separate fee ordinance that was updated every year, so it'd be very consumer-friendly and easy for someone to see. That'll be one of the projects that we would like to embark on in the spring. But in this case, we wanted to make it clear what the fees were as of May in the code, so there'd be no confusion.
So does this bring us up to schedule?
This brings us up to what is actually being charged by the license group, and it's making it public rather than someone having to go to the licensing division and ask them.
Okay. Any questions? Committee, any questions? No? Alderman Guzman?
So, since we haven't done it that many years, so are you talking about it's a 20% raise or 30% raise?
No, it's been charged. Every year, there has been a 2.5% increase, and that's what it says in the ordinance. It just didn't show it. So it said, these are the fees as of 2019. Every year thereafter, we're increasing it by 2.5%. When Marcus, who helped draft this from my office, he looked at it and he said, okay, so we're going to put in the current fee, but it's going to be different than all these others, and we decided to bring them all up to current, so when someone looks at this today, they don't have to go and ask what the cumulative increase has been. They can see it.
I see, so it's just a wording.
It's for transparency.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
Any other questions? No? All right, can I get a roll call?
Alderman Florian.
Aye.
Alderman Martinez.
Aye.
Alderman Donenworth.
Aye.
Chairman Felix.
Aye. Motion passes. Can I get a motion for line item E, ordinance amending section 3-10 of the Code of Ordinance for Waukegan regarding seasonal tavern licenses?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? Alderman Guzman?
All right, so right now it's asking this to go from April to October, okay? That's great. But the problem is now the license needs to move from that, the business license, or is it separate for seasonal?
It's separate. It's a separate thing. And the reason we're doing this is because the original ordinance had a contradiction. In one place, it said September 30th, and the other place it said October 15th. And we wanted them to both say October 15th. That's the only reason for this.
No, I think
it doesn't conflict with the business license.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I mean, if they're only open from this day to this day, then you give them the 6 months, 7 months, but this is fair.
Any other questions? Committee? Can I get a roll call?
Alderman Florian,
Aye.
Alderman Martinez,
Aye.
Alderman Donenworth,
Aye.
Chairman Felix.
Aye. Motion passes. Get a motion for line item F, resolution approving an agreement with Municipal GIS Partners, Inc. for geographical information systems services in the amount of $90,000.
Motion. Second.
Any questions? All right, can I get a roll call?
Alderman Florian,
Aye.
Alderman Martinez, Alderman Donenworth,
Aye.
Chairman Felix.
Aye. Reports and communications, there are none, so can I motion to adjourn?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, we are adjourned.